Thank you for hanging out with me today. I'm Bryan, the President and Chief Investment Officer at Bryan Financial Group, a registered investment advisory firm with offices in Virginia and in Washington, D.C. And I am excited about Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, I do AfroEconomics with Bryan, which is the name of the Facebook page. So I'm kind of looking back and forth at different monitors until I hook up my technology where I can just look at one of you. But the Facebook page is AfroEconomics with Bryan, and the YouTube is actually AfroEconomics with Bryan as well. So that's a good thing. And I am excited about the topic we're talking about, 5 signs you will get rich. I have on the corner a chat box, but I'm not sure that unless you log into the Google that you can chat, but I like doing this live. And then it also has that my friends at Facebook lost, so that's why it's good to do 2 things, because now I will actually be able to share this with them. So let's talk about 5 signs that you will get rich. Well, there's so many things. And what I wanted to make sure I do, that we have 10 principles of AfroEconomics. So, and of these 5, these are 5 practical things, not just like me pulling 5 things from AfroEconomics. I just thought of 5 key things that I see in the research in doing this, and that by being a financial advisor for such a long time, and then just good common sense, good old sense, right? But let's think about 5 things that I hope that you're doing, that you can start doing. I honestly believe that there is absolutely no stopping you. There is nothing that you have done that can stop you from changing today. So what you've done is like the past. What we do today is our present. So what we do today actually creates our tomorrow, and Saturday, which is the live workshop in Richmond and a live workshop in DC in April. And it's about April, money, power, respect. So make sure that you register at AfroEconomics.com so that you will get information on and invites to all of the events coming up. 5 signs that you will get rich, one of which has to be that you come to the workshops. I bet that everybody that comes to the workshops, takes the time, comes out, even watches this, can say that they are richer than they would be if they did not participate in something that is so positive, something that's going to move them forward. On Facebook earlier, I did I'm going to share with you about just some funny things that I found that about people that make more money before we just go into keeping it down to just those 5. But I found research that said that people who are popular in high school actually make more money. Isn't that something? So I was like, yeah, I was most popular in my class. So I'm all excited about that. That means that I am going to be richy rich. Look, I hope so. I hope so. So Definite said that popular people that were popular in high school are richer. That's funny. And it says that the IQ really isn't the determining factor. Also found that in some research. It said that people with high IQs doesn't mean that they actually make better financial decisions, or sometimes you're so smart that you talk yourself out of doing things that actually can create a lot of wealth, because it's about a lot of it. As we'll see, as we'll discuss, as I've always said, as an entrepreneur, a big part of entrepreneurship is taking a chance. And taking that chance, really, if you just broke it down to the pain and the gain, you're taking a huge chance. But I love it. You got to really love it if you're going to do it. Obesity, being big, cuts into your health, which is one of my 5. Having healthy habits is huge. It said that that big people, but there was no research to support that obese Black men lost income. But it said that the white men the white women and the black women, they did see that bigger obese people, that the obese black women, for example, that they have a cut in income. So which like sent me into like fasting mode. Look, not just diet mode, like fast quick, nah. But I thank God for being healthy. So the it did show like that people that went to like Ivy League colleges tend to have higher income. It said that people that drink have a higher income. So I have never taken a drink in my life. So that, but I've always said that not drinking does cut you out of certain social circles. It really does. They don't even invite you, and they know like, oh, you know, she doesn't drink. Like, there's a lot of things that I don't get invited to. But interesting. I also read that Donald Trump, I know in his book that he has, Art of the Deal, he makes reference to he doesn't drink, and that he would go to things and just, you know, hold something to feel like, you know, just hold a glass of water or hold something that made it look like he drank. But he's never drank either. But so I don't know. He makes a whole lot of money. So I don't know how that changed the statistics. But the research says that people who are drinkers, I guess, because it gives them more networking ability. But I don't know. But that's what it said. Non-smokers have 2 times the income, 2 times higher the income than people who are heavy smokers, and slightly higher than people that were light smokers. So those are some interesting fun facts about money and money and making more money and habits of, you know, of wealth and things like that. Oh, taller. What about that? It said that taller men and women make more money above have a higher average income than people of average height. And then one of my Facebook friends said she was going to be wearing stilettos every day. Like, that's right. That's right. So let's talk about, let's continue to discuss, like, what do you think about it. Like, what do you think are 5 habits, we could say, or 5 signs of people that, or what do people do that do get rich? Now, rich is a relative word. Like everything, you know, rich is up to you. What's rich? I respect what your definition of rich is. So the I have a poster here where it says like, think like a millionaire, you know, because a million is not as much as it used to be, y'all, but it has like the 10 principles of AfroEconomics scattered across the silhouette. But definitely think, what is the mindset of getting rich? What is the mindset of developing wealth? Well, I say that a person, 5 signs that a person will get rich is one first thought is that they have a job that pays well. They're in a field that will allow them to get paid well. And that would fall under becoming self-reliant, the 2nd principle of Afroeconomics, you know, and the 7th principle of Afroeconomics that might involve making sure that they develop a business. The 7th principle of Afroeconomics is entrepreneurship, but starting a business in a field that will pay well. If that is your definition of being rich, and we'll just use that making a lot of money is what we're talking about as far as rich for today. So that they will have to make sure that they're in a position to make that money, and that might involve getting the necessary knowledge, getting the necessary training. Evidence does show that people who do get college degrees, go into higher education, and get the proper training in some capacity, do have higher incomes, especially people who come from a poverty setting, which is why you'll see, you know, the biggest growth in education has been in Black people. I've heard, you know, many Black scholars say that we are very educated people. Now I want to bring some money-making skills, how to monetize your intellect. That is the challenge for our community now. You know, how to apply it. As I said before, the high IQ, the high knowledge, quotient doesn't really guarantee that you know how to make money. So that is good. That's what we want to, really make sure that we focus on. And then a second point is to increase your knowledge so that you can generate income that exceeds at least $100,000. So if a person is in a job that is making at least 100,000 plus, it might be sales in their business or income from their job, or then they need to make sure that you now start working on what can I do to increase my income, because making over at least $100,000, look, and this, really at least 125, that you'll be able to save more and put some of that income away, because we live in a society where everything costs so much. So if you want a certain standard of living, it may require that you make over 100,000. But there's a lot of people who can get rich, and it just depends, and with a lot less of income. So it depends on how many bills you accumulate, how much, so that you can save more of your money. So even if you're making 150,000, but you're spending 90% of that, or 90% of whatever you get after taxes, then you may not, be able to save and make some good choices with that money. So make sure that you first develop, and position yourself in order to get a good job. And then by getting the information, by becoming self-reliant, by doing the second principle, and then of AfroEconomics, and then creating the income through knowing how to monetize that knowledge. So monetizing your information would be your second sign that you will be rich. And then a third tip I want to share is that you would have the first principle of AfroEconomics, definitely that you have a long-term vision. The first principle of AfroEconomics is about legacy, and people who be rich don't think about just planning for today or this week. They think in decades. The richer the person is, the more they're forward-thinking they are. The more capital they have available to them, the more forward-thinking they are. They're thinking about the next generation, how they're going to, how move their business forward. They're going to see a Facebook friend. She posted about, she works for the government, and her job is to work on a project that is going to be released to the public 25 years from now. Now that's forward thinking. They're thinking about Google. Was the heads of Google were interviewed today on television, and they were talking about that if the administration reduces government spending on technology and advancement, then that will impact them, because they depend on the government. The government, and they said straight up, government grants created the internet that we understand. Now, and I was, really shocked, because I was thinking, that we know this in our subconscious mind, but to hear him say that Google, one of the biggest companies in the world, has benefited from a government entitlement program, it lets you know that AfroEconomics is vital, that we are not on equal footing, that we don't realize that when we're trying to build our businesses, and we're trying to compete on a level where they've got the government working on projects that they're involved in, and then they get to bring it into the private sector, and then the private sector goes public, and they become multi-billionaires. So we have to figure out, how do we first accept the fact that we have to figure out creatively how we can get included in some of this. What is coming forward in 25 years? How do we find out what's coming forward in 25 years? And how does our community benefit from what the government is working on? And how can we force private institutions, private corporations to start doing some of that training for our small businesses, and not for our institutions and for our children? Because they're moving a lot of jobs outside of the country. So these are some things, that we need to think about, because that's what gets you rich. about thinking about what is coming forward. How do we, and the challenge for us is getting involved in it, knowing about it, getting included in it. So we have to be focused on the long term. We have to think in decades and not days. That's how we're going to get rich. That's how we're going to have generations of wealth. And a lot of times I think about myself as I'm building my business and what that I'm practicing and what that I'm developing, that it may be my child, my next generation that benefits from the bulk of your effort. When you look at these major businesses, you look at Walmart, the generations before what we see as Walmart today have, we're building what Walmart, those kids benefit from. If they had not done what they did with the little store and get another store and get another store, when it went from 1 to 2 to 3 to 10, and now they have thousands, that in all different countries, but it had to start way back then. It had to start back then. Thank you all for watching. I see my viewers out there. So the long-term focus, and then we're looking at a fourth sign that you will get rich, is that you will take chances. That when people describe you, they include the words aggressive, risk taker, determined. The ninth principle of AfroEconomics is determination, being determined. That's how we build wealth. That's how we get rich. We have to not give up. Have you seen that picture where the man is hitting the wall, hitting the wall, hitting the wall, and then he stops? And when you look at the picture, it says like he was like 1 inch from busting through the wall. And then they have another man underneath where he busts through the wall, but the other guy on top, he gave up. Well, you want to be that one that gets rich, especially if you start from, school loans. I came out of school in negative zone. We have to be determined, to get rid of that stuff, and so many people now are making such huge investments in just step one and just trying to get themselves the training that they need. We need to be very careful on how much debt we're accumulating in getting the training to develop the income that we need. So we have to make sure that we realize that spending on education is an investment. And what are you going to get out of that investment? So if you're going into $100,000 in debt for a job that's going to pay $40,000 on average a year, you need to be careful with that. I think that we should be limited to not going into debt to more than what you expect that first year's salary to be. No, that's it. It's too much. A doctor might be able to accumulate $500,000 in debt, but that $500,000 in debt is hurting them now also. So unless they're in a surgeon where they're going to be making, $500,000 plus, maybe you have their own plastic surgeon business and work with Kim Kardashian and make 10 million. But a lot of doctors are not going to do that, no matter what your field is. So be careful, because your accumulation will depend on you getting rid of the debt, saving, and investing for that long term. Thinking in number 3, those decades, those long terms, taking your money, investing it in assets that over time will pay off for you. That could be through your work retirement plan. The higher the income, we talked about how high the income, the more you can put away. You don't have the debt because you're being smart. You're reducing your debt. So of course, people that come from wealth have a much higher chance of being wealthy. I looked at the research, around 40%. If you're born poor, you have a 40% chance of staying poor. If you're born rich, you have a 40% chance of staying rich. So it's just about the same. So that means there's a whole bunch of rich people who do, like 60%, who lose their wealth. And there's 60% of people who are born poor that actually get wealthy, that move up. So we got to look at it. If you were born poor, you actually got a better chance, of getting out of poverty than staying in it. So we can do this. We can do this. So, a fifth, number 5, and it's so true, principle 10, Black health and Black wealth. You can know if you have unhealthy habits, if you're smoking all the time, you're drinking all the time, you're not ever exercising, if you're arguing all the time, you're in a toxic relationship, you're doing things that are unhealthy for yourself, rest assured that is not the formula for getting rich. That is highly unlikely. Going through a divorce, that can really devastate you financially. The majority of people that are wealthy are married. They get married and they stay married. That even helps your kids do well. So when we're looking at the statistics, so we have those odds against us. That means we have to work extra hard to make sure that our children, that we are not statistics. So you can actually increase your odds by having very healthy habits, making sure that you're able to work longer, be smarter, make better decisions because your mind is healthy. You have healthy habits. You're able to show up, blow up, right? We gotta show up before we can blow up. We gotta know, we have to be there. We have to be on point. I've had people that I've hired and they have these unhealthy habits, and then they come and they get to their desk and they're bad for my business. So they affect everybody's money. I have a section in the book where I talk about, when you're Black and you have an opportunity in a job or business or starting your own, you have an opportunity. And when you don't do it with integrity, which is the 5th principle of AfroEconomics, you jack it up for everybody else. And we need to take ourselves seriously of what we represent. So we want to, some signs that we will get rich. We want to make sure that we get ourselves the proper training so that we can get the job that we want. We need to create income from that training. Too many people go in there, get debt, get these degrees, and don't know how to create income from it. Get licenses and don't know how to create income from it. It's not funny. It's not funny that, oh, I majored in that and I'm not even doing that, unless you're in something that's doing better, but if you can do something, do it. You made an investment in something, use it to your benefit. Being long-term focused on everything that we do. If you're going to be in a particular place for a long period of time, invest in real estate, invest in property as soon as you can for as long as you can. If you're going to be a stock investor, be very smart about your selections, participate in plans that are available for you to do it pre-tax. If there's no plan available, find a plan, get with a financial advisor, and get involved in saving for yourself. Then also that taking chances. Realizing that it is going to take, for most of us, we're going to have to take some chances in order that security is not going to create the rich that most of you idolize or are shooting for. Now, for some people, rich might just be getting a regular job, and that's cool, but be very careful how you manage your money for your regular job so that you can stay at a state of financial independence. But you defined your rich, and developing healthy habits, realizing that the healthier you are, the longer you will be able to work, create income, build your career, and also not have to waste your money on correcting your health and health issues, because healthcare is very expensive. And a lot of things that used to be covered are not covered. There's a lot more money, even in the future, that's going to be coming out of your pocket. So definitely check out the membership of AfroEconomics. Check out the upcoming workshop. I really appreciate you. If you have any questions, make sure you put them in the comments. Email me directly at jb@jbbryan.com, and let's make sure we keep in touch. I am JB Bryan, President and Chief Investment Officer at JB Bryan Financial Group, a registered investment advisory firm, the home of AfroEconomics, a strategic financial management program designed for the advancement of Black wealth in America and abroad. Have a great day.